Now, this is her own people, but Ilhan Omar, and here's the topic, or here's the title of the article. Ilhan Omar, oops. Okay, you can see that. Ilhan Omar's meddling in Horn of Africa earns boos at Somali American concert. This is her own people. Let's start with the video first, and then I'll scroll back up and read some of the article. But the video is here. Let's click on it. Now, if she was doing something on the Foreign Affairs Committee specifically to help the people in the Horn of Africa or Somalia, would they have this reaction? So what's the difference of you being on the committee if you're not doing nothing? This is the reaction of you being on the committee. Not doing a thing. So let's, oh, I think I gotta hit that. There we go. Now let's read a little bit of the article because it kind of explains why. So let's, framed by Republican media as a backlash against Ilhan Omar's woke politics, the boos of Somali American crowd expressed growing anger over the Congresswoman's role in U.S. meddling in the Horn of Africa. Ilhan Omar was greeted with vigorous booing during a July 2nd concert featuring Somali singer Soldan Saran in Minneapolis. The booing was so profound and so sustained that it was impossible to mistake it for cheers or all the thumbs downs for thumbs ups. It reportedly went on for 10 minutes or more, punctuated with "get out" and "get the fuck out of here," end quote. Ilhan smiled, gesturing at the crowd to temper down, as though the adulation was just too much. Her husband, Tim Minett, I think that's how you said, stood at her side looking awkward and confused. Then someone who seemed to be a concert manager gestured at the crowd more empathetically to tamper down. Some say the booing went on even longer while Ilhan went through the process of presenting Soldan Saran with some sort of award. The singer shifted uneasily from one leg to the other, seemingly startled and unsure what to do, then reached out to gesture at the crowd, also asking them to tone down their gestures of disapproval. This seems to be more than he could be had bargained for when he agreed to share the stage with the Congresswoman. Serere, I think Serere is extremely popular in Somalia community and was planned to a packed house. He's unaccustomed, to booze. This was his first concert in North America, and he's likely unfamiliar with Ilhan's record in the House and on the House Foreign Affairs Committee Subcommittee on Africa, Global Health, and Global Human Rights, where she serves as a vice chair. Karen Bass currently chairs the committee, and this is different now, and chairs the National Endowment for a Democratic, and they go into all that. I don't need to know that, and she's running for mayor. So they were booing for her record on the committee. So Somalis wanted her off the committee, it sounds like to me, because what she's doing on the committee is not helping them. And let's continue. Ilhan, an African immigrant and the only Black person on the subcommittee besides Bass, is a shoe-in to become chair if Democrats hold on to the House, unlikely as they may have. Now, we know they didn't. So we know that. Many Africans shudder at the thought, however, not only in Somalia, her country of origin, and the rest of the Horn of Africa, but also in the African Great Lakes regions in diaspora from both regions. When I organized a Twitter space discussion with Somali American activists on Ilhan's record, I heard an outpouring of anger not only over her perceived neglect of her district, where violent crime is surging, but also over her role in the removal of Somali President Mohammed Abdullahi Mohammed, and support for a candidate affiliated with her personal clan. This was the popular president, Somali president here. If I said his name wrong, my apologies. I'm sure I did. This was but one of the examples of the Congresswoman's role in advancing U.S. meddling in the Horn of Africa. Ilhan meets with Kagame and Tedros as they plot against Ethiopia. In October 2021, Ilhan traveled to Rwanda as a guest of its authoritarian president and war criminal Paul Kagame, a darling of global elites. She then proceeded to vote against a House resolution to call on Kagame to free political prisoner Paul R. I'm not even going to attempt to even say that. And this is looks like a tweet. In Rwanda on a private jet, Congresswoman Ms. Ilhan Omar stopped by our office today for a presentation of the foundation and other programs initiated by our chairperson, First Lady of Rwanda. And that's her. You can see the pictures here. Actually, let me blow it up so we can. Oh, shoot. It is actually takes us to Twitter. So let's go back. So anyway, so let's go back. So I won't click on it, but you can see it there. David Himbari, a former economic advisor to Kagame, and Tom Zollner, author of R's biography, slammed Ilhan in a Minnesota Post op-ed, writing that her relationship with Kagame threatened to throw her entire stance on the U.S. criminal justice system into a light of hypocrisy. End quote. With regards to Ethiopian civil conflict, Ilhan has directed her criticism squarely at the government, even as it defends Ethiopia from attacks by the U.S.-backed, and we already know TPLF, and that has been resolved. So, who ruled the country brutally for 27 years from 1991 to 2008 and waged war against the Eurites. So that's what Somalians think of Ilhan Omar on the committee and her work on the committee, interfering in the Horn of Africa on the committee. So why isn't her exiting the committee so that she can't do more harm in the Horn of Africa? Not a good thing. I think Somalians would say that is objectively a better thing that she's not on there to be able to influence anything in the Horn of Africa on behalf of imperialism.